Hello, everyone. This is Rose. Today's topic from the Book of Life is why do men hate when their girl gets advice from another woman? Do they fear that the other woman might smell their BS that their girl is immune to? Let's talk about it. Okay. Now, here's the thing about this story. I need to build up to the topic. So when I start, as women, when we tell what's something that somebody told us, we like to give you all the details, the juicy details, and we don't want to leave nothing out. So we got to give you step by step of what we was told or what we saw, what we heard. And so with this one, to start it, you're going to be like, what to do with the topic? But it's leading up to the topic, okay? So bear with me as I take this journey on a slow roll. It's not going to be long, but I'm getting there. So, anyway, one of my dear friends, she has she was scheduled for surgery. So she called me up and she was telling me, she said, she called me Rosie. She refused to call me Rose. And her reason is that she said because she doesn't like wine. Cause see, they nickname me Rose. Of course, that is not my real name, but that's what the girls call me because I drink rose wine from time to time. So, but anyway, she tells me I'm not calling you Rose. She calls me Rosie. I said, well, okay, that's fine. I said, well, what's wrong with calling me Rose like the rest of the ladies? Why you got to be extra and call me Rosie? You might as well call me my real name. She said because it goes against her principles as a Hennessy drinker, and that's why she got to call me Rosie and can't call me Rose. I said, girl, whatever you want to do, that's fine with me. So sometimes you may hear me say Rosie, and sometimes you may hear me say Rose when I'm talking about one of my good girlfriends. But anyway, so she called me Rosie. She said, Rosie, she called me up and she said, I got to have surgery. And so I'm getting alarmed. I'm getting, what? You got to have surgery. You got to have surgery. What's going on? You know? And I said, what's going on? What you got to have surgery for? And see, her name is Florence, but I call her Flo. Since she going to call me Rosie, I call her Flo. So she don't like Flo, but hey, hey, what can I say? But she's used to it, me calling her Flo. I can't help it. Sometimes I forget. I try to remember Florence, but that's too long of a word. I just flow. So anyway, I said, well, what's going on, Flo? Well, what you gotta have surgery for? I said, matter of fact, you ain't even gotta tell me what it's about. I said, just tell me when and where, and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there for you because you gotta have some support. And I call up all the girls that's available that can be there. She's like, no, 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 it's no big deal. You don't have to call anybody. She said, that's why I waited to tell you today. I said, okay, what are you trying to say, Flo? What are you trying to say? She said, because the surgery is tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? Surgery tomorrow? What? Tell nobody sooner. She said, I did because it's no big deal, and I knew you would make a big deal about it. She said, so that's why I waited to tell you today. She said, but anyway, she said, it's minor surgery. It's my bunions. I've been dealing with these bunions for years. And so I'm having surgery. They got to do some of these bunions. It's getting harder and harder to walk as I get older. So I say, okay, Flo, I understand. I say, so what do you need from me? Do you need anything? Do you need me to do something? She's like, no, girl, I don't need you to do anything. She said, I just wanted you to know that I was having surgery. She said, just keep me in your prayers. Have the other girls, just pray for me. She said, that's all I need. I just, when we get older, we got to be careful going into surgery. I said, well, are they going to put you to sleep, Flo? She said, no. I said, but then what you talking about going into surgery? I said, she said, they just going to do a local anesthesia. I said, so what you talking about, Flo? They not going to put you to sleep? She said, well, I know. I didn't say that. I just said I was having surgery. I didn't say they was. Why you making a big deal of it? I said, I'm just trying to understand. So this is how we talk. So she said, I said, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. So she said, well, okay, well, they're not going to put me to sleep. She said it's going to be local anesthesia, but it's still surgery. I said, I get you. I have had those type of surgeries before. I said, I get you, but you had me scared because I thought you was getting ready to go under. She said, no, I'm not going under. She said, but it's just bunion surgery. She said, but because of my age and my medical things, she said, well, so it's going to be something to be alarmed about. She said, we just don't heal as fast as we used to when we was younger. I said, I get that. And then so she said, so I said, well, I'll come and check on you. She said, no, 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 no. She said, you ain't got to come tomorrow. She said, because, I just let me call you when I get settled. She said, you know how it is when you under that anesthesia, you come away from under it, you get to talking and saying some stuff. She said, I don't want to say something to you that I don't want you to know. And I said, well, okay, then, well, no big deal then, just trying to be there for a sister. Okay, I'll wait until you call me. So she said, okay. So then she said, I should be home no longer than or somewhere around 12 or 1 p.m. She said, the doctor told me that, I'd be out of there by 12 noon, by lunchtime. I said, okay, no problem, Flo. I said, well, I'll wait on your call to see how you're doing. And so she said, okay, Rosie. So we hang up the phone. So I'm waiting, I'm waiting. So she didn't call me the day of her surgery. And I'm still waiting. I'm wondering if I should call her daughter, make sure she's good. I know it's local anesthesia, but I said, no, I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait like she told me. So she called me that following day after her surgery. So she called me early in the morning because she know I'm an early riser, even though sometimes I go to sleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep. When I lay back down for another 38 minutes to an hour, I'm still getting up early. So she know I'm an early riser. So she called me and she talking, telling me about her surgery and how things went. And then so she tells me, she said everything went well. She said the only thing I don't like is when he tells me I got to stay in the bed for 6 weeks. I said, well, what's wrong with that, Flo? You just got to stay up your feet. You already said you're hard to walk with the bunions. It's going to be harder to walk now that you got the surgery. I said, did they take the bunions off? What did they do? She said, well, no, they just kind of filed that bone down a little bit. And she said, so it's not so bad where it don't hurt so bad in these shoes. I said, okay. I said, well, do what the doctor say. Stay. I said, well, how do you, who helped you to the bathroom, Flo? She said, well, they got me one of these chair things. I said, what's a chair thing? She said, well, you can scoot out of bed and scoot into this chair. It look like a wheelchair. She said, well, it's a potty. I said, oh, you got to go to one of those. Okay, I hear you. I said, well, okay then. I said, well, at least you make sure you don't fall out that bed and on the floor. You ain't got nobody pick you up. She said, no, I know how to do it. I've been practicing. I said, okay, then good. I said, so is your daughter taking any time off work? She said, no, she's not taking no time off work. I said, okay then. So we talked for about an hour. Now, this is the day after surgery. So I tell her, I said, well, Flo, I said, look, I got a lot to do. We've been on this phone for over an hour. I got a lot to do. I need to get off this phone and I'll check in with you later. She said, okay. We hang up. Let me tell you what she did. 10 minutes later, she called me back. So she called me back. Okay, Flo, what's going on? Oh, nothing. I'm just sitting here bored. I said, well, it only been 10 minutes since we talked. See, you bored already? She said, well, I ain't got nothing to do. I said, you have a TV in your room, don't you? She said, yeah, but there's nothing on. I said, well, okay, well, you can't keep. I said, well, I can't talk to you right now. I said, well, okay, let me give you 5 more minutes of my time. I said, I got things to do. She said, okay, then I'm going to let you go so you can do your stuff. We hang up. 20 minutes later, she called me back. This went on almost the majority of the day. Non-stop calling me. Now I'm getting frustrated because the lady is keep calling me and I'm trying to be patient and I'm like, am I a mean friend? Because this is frustrating. So I'm trying to be patient and I'm talking to her And I got these thoughts going in my head. Okay, be patient, Judy. Be the good Christian. Just be patient. You got to have patience with people. You want them to have patience with you. This is what I'm telling myself. But she done called me, see, like about 15, 20 times already. And it's like 3 o'clock. I ain't got nothing to do today. So I'm like, it's getting time for me to start prepping dinner and everything else, and I ain't got my earlier work done. So I'm like, well, how much of a good friend or a patient friend I gotta be, as a Christian, because this is a lot. So I just calmed down and I stayed quiet. And so I tell her, I say, good thing I was thinking to myself, because then something came to me and said, I said, ooh, this ain't nothing but the Holy Spirit. This is God and right here telling me what to do. So I tell her, I say, you know what, Flo? I say, tomorrow, tell your daughter to stop by here and pick up a care package from me to you. Something to kind of help give you something to do while you sitting there in that bed and nothing is on TV that you want to watch. I want to put some things together for you to help you out. I say, I say, because a lot of times I can't talk on the phone with you all day for no 6 weeks, Flo. I say all day, every day. I say I got things to do. I'll be too behind in what I got to do if I'm talking to you for 6 weeks on the phone all day long. And so she said, well, why don't you just bring it over tomorrow? And so you could come visit me. And she said it'd be good to see you in person. So I said, well, Flo, I get that. I said, but who gonna open the door if you can't get out of bed? She said, well, you could come out till my daughter get home from work. I said, girl, you know I don't drive after the street lights come on. What's wrong with you? Your daughter don't get home until after 7 o'clock every night. I said, I'm not coming over there. It gets dark early. I said, I'm not coming over there and driving when the street lights is on. I said, you know I don't do that. And so she said, well, okay then. I tell her that she had an attitude. I tell her to stop by and pick up the care package. I said, good. And then I said, by the time she get here, I've been and went to the store and got it together and put everything together. So that was fine. We agreed upon that. So the next day, I go and let me tell you what I got. Oh, I love the stuff I got. Oh, I bought her this handheld video game. And the video game, it has a variety of different card games in it. I mean, she could play solitary. She can play blackjack. I mean, it don't have what we play. It don't have the spade and oh God, this senioritis. The pity pack. It don't have the pity pack and spade, but it has other card games. Now she knows how to play solitary because we play that when we by ourselves. So, and she knows how to play blackjack. So at least it has something to keep her mind occupied. And then on top of that, I got her a lot of these paperback puzzle books because they have the ones where you can find find the word and you circle the word, and they have the crossword puzzles where you have to figure out what the word goes in, and then they even have some that have map things that like map problems you got to solve. So I say, okay, this should keep her occupied. Then I got her some. I said, let me get her some spiritual music so if she's feeling down. I got her some. I bought her a little handheld because it was on sale at Amazon. It was a handheld CD player. The little small ones. I got her that because you can't find CD players too much. I want everything is downloading, streaming and stuff. What's wrong with CD players? I hope that don't go out of style. But anyway, I got her the CD player, the little small CD player, and I got her some spiritual CDs, and I got her some spiritual old school music because you can't even find today's music on CDs. Why they don't make CDs no more? Why they don't put music on there? It's nothing. You have to order the old. Well, that was okay because old school music was something that we like hearing. But I was trying to get her some Bruno Mars music on the CD, and I couldn't find any. So if you guys know where you can get that from, let me know because I don't know nothing about all this streaming stuff. I want to put it on some CDs, or sometimes you want to put it in your CD player and listen to it. But anyway, here you go. So I got that for her. I say, so I wanted her to have something so she's feeling down, it'll lift her spirit up, and then she can keep her spirit lifted up. Got some Bruno Mars, some other oldies going. The Motown soundtrack of oldies. There's a variety of different Motown singers playing on that, so that way she have a variety of stuff to listen to. So I got all that for her, and then on top of all that, I said she gonna want some snacks. So I got her some snacks. I got her those little mini bags. I seen these mini bags of chips when you go to Walmart. They have these little mini bags of chips to get two for $1. Two for 98 cents. So I found them in a variety box. I got her those little mini bags of chips, and I got her some little mini bags of cookies because I know she like those shortbread cookies and those Oreo cookies. So I got her that. So I said this should keep her busy. This should keep her occupied where she ain't got to call me all day long. You hear me? So I got her that stuff. And I said, okay, good. So I'm feeling good about what I got for her. And I come here, I had a huge basket. I got a beautiful, huge basket. And I put it in there real pretty and put some of that saran wrap stuff you put over the basket, that sturdy stuff that don't fly away. So I got that and put it on it, and I put the basket on the table near the front door. I said that way when her daughter Gail get here, it's ready for her to take. She ain't gotta come in the house. I just hand it to her as to open the door. So anyway, I'm waiting on Gail. It's getting close to when I know she usually get home after 7 at her mom's house. So I know somewhere around there she's gonna be getting here. So Gail called me at exactly at 7 o'clock. She called me at 7 o'clock. She said, Miss Rosie, and she said, I'm 10 minutes away from your house. I'll be there soon to get the package you got from mom. I said, okay, Gail. I said, come on, I'm here. Just come on. So I'm, 10 minutes later, she was right there. So, she rang the doorbell. I looked on the camera. I seen it was her standing out there. So I opened up the door and I'm handing her the bag. I see she got her purse on her shoulder. She got her keys in her hand. So I just hand her the package. I said, okay, it's not too heavy for you, is it? She said, no. And I said, okay, well, tell your mom. I said, I'll talk to her tomorrow. She ain't got to call me and let me know about the basket tonight. Just tell her I'll talk to her tomorrow. And, we could, she could tell me whatever she want to tell me about the basket then. So next thing I know, Gail got one foot in the door and she said, okay, thank you, Miss Rosie. But she got a foot in the door. So I look at her, I said, what's she doing her foot? I said, is she ain't her mama child? And so I'm waiting for her to move her foot so I can close my door. And she's standing there looking puzzled. And I'm like, well, what's wrong, Gail? I said, why are you frozen? You look like you're just frozen. What's the matter? She said, well, I was contemplating if I should say this to you. I said, oh, Lord. I said, say what to me? She said, well, not say something to you if I should ask you. I said, well, ask me what? What is it, Gail? What is it that you need to ask me? Well, I want to know if I could come in, if you have a minute, I could come in and talk to you about something. I need your advice. I said, what advice I can give you that your mama can't give you? Well, what is it advice on? She said, well, that's what I want to explain to you in person. I said, well, why your mama can't give you the advice? She said, well, you know how my mama is. She going to give me that church mother advice. I said, well, I'm a church goer. I'm a senior. What make you think I ain't going to give you the church mother advice? She said, well, you different. Like, I'm different. Your mama drink Hennessy. I drink wine. Tell me how I'm different. She talk a lot of smack when we playing cards, just like I do. Tell me how I'm different. I said, oh, she must not know her mama because she ain't here when we playing cards. I said, okay, so I said, but what kind of advice you think I'm gonna give you? I said, I'm gonna keep it godly. I said, I ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong to do. I'm not gonna give you. She said, but yeah, you gonna tell me the real. Mama coat candy coat stuff. She ain't gonna tell you the real. She said, I need to hear the real. I said, well, come on in, girl. You're at the right place. Come on in. So I let her in. She put the basket back down on the table. I said, have a seat. Let's talk. So I said, okay, well, what's bothering you? What is it, Gail? So she went on to tell me about how her boyfriend, that she's been dating this guy for 2 years. She's been dating him for 2 years, and he takes her out to eat for the first time since they've been dating. Because she said they normally goes to his house and she cooks for him and she cleans for him. And so they never go out to eat. And I said, well, that's nice. He took you out to eat. She said, yeah, but he took me out because he wanted to talk serious to me. And I said, well, he couldn't talk serious in his place where you always go to. She said, well, I don't know. She said, but that's what he said. He said he wanted to talk to me. He had some serious conversation that he wanted to talk, and he wanted us to be in an atmosphere where we would be calm. When he told it to me, I said, oh, Lord, I can imagine what this is. That's what I'm saying to myself. I'm not telling her this. So anyway, I said, okay, well, what is it? What did he said? And so she went on to tell me, she said, well, before I tell you what he talked to me about, she said, after he told me about what he wanted to tell me, what got me upset was when, after he told me, she said, I called him up and I told him that I had talked to my girlfriend about what he had said, what we discussed at dinner. She said, I told him I called my girlfriend, my best girlfriend, and I told her what he had said because it threw me. What he said to me just had me. She said, I couldn't think straight. She said, I needed someone to talk to. And when I told him what my girlfriend said, she said, he cursed me out. I said, he cursed you out? Well, why he cursed you out? Because of somebody else's opinion. She said, I don't know, he got mad. He cursed me out. And he told me that's what's wrong with me, that I don't need to be sharing their private business to other people, and all they gonna do is try to influence me to think the way they think, and that's not what he loves about me, is that I don't think like they think. And I don't let them misguide me. And he loves how I think for myself. And I said, well, how did he? Why would he say that you believe in what the girlfriend said because you told him what she said? She said, I don't know. He just cursed me out. We didn't get a chance to finish the conversation because he hung up on me. She said, so then she said, after he hung up on me, when he called me back a few hours later, and then he tells me that uh, he was sorry, but he wanted me to handle that business that he told me to handle with my mama, and asked me, was I still in? And I told him, yeah, I'm still in. I'm still gonna have a conversation with my mama. She said, and that's why I'm here talking to you. And then so she went on to proceed to tell me, she said, because, this is what the girlfriend said. I said, no, 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 baby. I said, look, we ain't got all the time in the world. I said, so don't tell me what the girlfriend said. I said, and don't tell me, I said, I need for you to tell me what he said to you. What he said to you, the situation that he said to you that caused him to curse you out when you told the girlfriend. What did he say to you? That's what I want you to tell me right now. I say, then you can ask me the other thing about your mama, whatever you're talking about. I said, but tell me that. She proceeded to tell me that I almost said something. That this man, I almost slipped. Lord, forgive me. Oh, I'm glad I didn't slip. But she said that he proceeded to tell her that he started off good. He was telling her that he's making a change in his life, that he's making a change, and that he is getting ready to move out of his apartment at the first of the month, move in with a roommate so that he can save money. He want to save money because he's ready to get married and he's ready to buy a house, but he needs to save some money. So I'm like, okay, well, it's starting off good. Well, what's the big deal about that? And so I said, well, okay, go ahead and proceed. What else did he say? I said, because right now it sounds real good. So she said, well, then he tells me that that once he moved in with his roommate, that I'm not allowed to come over to his apartment any longer, and that what he needs for me to do is talk to my mama about allowing me to have, as a grown woman, to have some privacy in her home by inviting her boyfriend over. Because he said that we are too grown to be sitting up under my mama watching TV or listening to some music or having a drink. He said that since I got a TV in my room, that my mama should allow me to have my boyfriend in my room to watch TV and listen to some music and have a drink. So I said, oh, got it. Now I see where the problem is coming in. And then so I said, well, what about I said, well, why you can't go to his new place with the roommate? Well, see, he told me that's what he don't want me to talk to nobody about. I said, well, why? Because that's when I told him my girlfriend said, he got mad and cursed me out. I said, well, you got to tell me. Because ain't nowhere in the world you going to give me half the story and then you expected me to give you some good advice. I said, you got to give me all the details. What's going on with this roommate? She said, well, his roommate is a female. I looked at her like this. I said, what? Are you serious? I said, a female? Well, oh, it's not you? She said, no, it's not me. I said, so why did he get a female roommate? Why you can't be his roommate? Well, he said that she already had a place and he's been knowing her since they was kids. They went to school together, and that she's a private individual and she don't like people in her house, but she's allowing him to come there and rent out her spare bedroom, and but she don't want nobody else in her house. And I said, oh. So she said, when I asked him, well, I can't meet your roommate, he said no, because I told you she's private. And then he gets mad and say, didn't you hear what I said? I told you she's private woman. And then she said, okay, I get that. She said, but okay. She said, so what are we going to do? Because normally I come to your house to see you. He said, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And she said, he raised his voice to talk to your mama about me coming to your house. She said, so we got to come to my house every time, and I'm not going to be able to see you at your place. And then she said, he looked at her and he said, are you dense? Did you not hear what I said? Do you not understand what I just said? Of course you can't come to my place no more. I just told you that. So I said, okay. Okay. I said, okay, so I see now. I see what the problem is. So I say, so why are you coming to me with this? What advice are you expecting me to give you that's different from your mama? She said, well, I just thought that you can give me advice on how to tell my mama, how to ask her about me having privacy in her home with my boyfriend so we can watch TV in my bedroom and listen to music. And because after all, I am a grown woman. I'm in my early 30s, and so is my boyfriend. He's in his mid 30s. So why can't we, come in our house and have some privacy? I said, girlfriend. I said, you want me to ask your mama that? So you looking for me to bribe your mama for you? That's what you want? Are you really looking for advice, or are you looking for me to bribe your mama for you? She said, no, I'm looking for advice. I say, baby girl, let me tell you something then. If you're looking for some advice, that's what I'm going to give you. I said, let me tell you about that boyfriend of yours. That boyfriend of yours, he's a player. He is nothing but a player. And I bet you anything, he had a bunch of women, side chicks. I said, because I'm going to tell you about who this woman is that he's moving in with. See, that's his main woman. That's the strongest link right there. Because see, men see women in categories that strong to weak. Strong to weak. Now that lady there, the one he moving in with, she's at the top of the strong list. Baby girl, you at the bottom. You the weakest. And he probably had women in between. I said, y'all been dating for 2 years? You tell me you guys been dating for 2 years and now he's springing this on you. It took him 2 years to figure out you was the weakest link. Because that tells me he had more than just you. Because, see, it wouldn't have took him 2 years to figure out that his main woman was the strongest and you are the weakest. So that means he had to have some other women in between you and her so he can know which one he can manipulate to go with his scheme that he's pulling on you right now. I said, that's what it was. And it took him 2 years to go through those women underneath his strong one. Because, see, he didn't have to put the strong one to the test. He already knew she was strong. Because I'm going to tell you what she bringing to the table. Not only is she educated and smart, she's wise. She knows how to lift him up, his spirit up when it's down. She got his back. She knows how to make him feel like a man. And I ain't talking about physical. I ain't talking about sex. She knows how to stroke his ego and help him stick his chest out, make him feel like a man. But at the same time, she knows how to give him that wisdom that he needs without making him feel little. I see, and then also she got his back. See, he look at this one, that strong one. He's looking at her like, if I'm down, I ain't got to worry about nothing because she can carry the load, including me. That's how he look at that strong one. So she's at the top of the list. He ain't got to evaluate her. He ain't got to compare her to the rest of y'all. She's at the top of the list. So now that he'd figured out between all the other women, which one is the weakest link? I'm sorry, baby girl, but it's you. Now that he'd figured it out, now what he'd did was slowly let go of those other ones. Because he know it's time to move in and get real, get serious with this strong one. Because, see, the strong one ain't going to take it for too long. Once she know that they have built this relationship and they get to a certain point, she's looking for something more. Take it to the next level. And that's what she's looking from him, and he feels it. And he ain't gonna lose this one. So now he slowly got rid of those other weak ones. But see, the thing about those other ones that are weak, them not being as weak as you, because see, they probably gave him some little static during the course of their fooling around. They probably gave him some static, asked him why, to come to the job to see what's going on. They trying to see if he's cheating, if there's another one, because they looking at how he's rolling with them, and it's like something ain't right. So he had to get rid of them. He couldn't have those ones that do a lot of investigation, do a lot of questioning. They question too much. So you left because you don't ask him no question. You go along with whatever he say. You believe whatever he tells you. See, so therefore, you're immune to his BS. So he got you right where he wants you. So he gonna tell you this BS, and you didn't question him not one time, did you? You didn't question him not one time. And then he took you to a restaurant to tell you to make you feel good because it's your first time going out to a restaurant. I bet you anything he took you 2 hours away and he took you to something like a buffet or like a Sizzler, or do they still have Sizzlers? Whatever, something that's quick. He didn't take you to a sit-down restaurant where he got to leave a tip. He took you to somewhere quick. I bet you anything where you could go up to the counter and get your food served in a plastic bowl, and then you go sit down in the table at the table inside of the place and eat. I said, I bet you this, and it took him 2 hours to drive there to take you there, huh? Is that what she's like, yes. So don't start crying now. Why didn't you think about that when he took you there? First time taking you out to eat, and he got to take you 2 hours away to a place like that? I say, I already know his type. I see, so this is who he is. So you're the weak link because you didn't even think to question that. Why? When too many of those type of fast food places, ready to eat food places, you don't order. It's not ordered to, it's already pre-cooked. So therefore, when he take you to a place like that, you didn't. It's too many of them right here locally. He didn't need to drive 2 hours. That wasn't a question in your mind. She's like, no. I say, see, that's why you need some advice about him, not about your mama. You need it about him. Because this man is playing you for a freaking fool. He playing you for a fool. Don't be no fool. Don't sit up here and let this man do you like this, girl. Show him you stronger than this. No. You gonna be second fiddle where he can come over and have him a side chick to come to your mama house. And your mama, she a good Christian woman. You know that woman don't let nothing go down in her house. She may drink her Hennessy, but trust and believe she ain't letting nothing go down in that house that is not godly. So you know good and well she not gonna let you come over there, bring that man over to your bedroom. If you that doggone grown that you feel you need to be with this man, move your butt out. Move your butt out your mama house. Get your own house so you ain't gotta ask her to compromise who she is. So what if she drinks some Hennessy? She's still a God-fearing woman that loves the Lord. And she holds her head up high because she don't do nothing but talk smack when she play cards and drink her Hennessy. And that's okay. That's okay. Nobody's perfect. And who said that was a sin anyway? She don't be out in public getting publicly drunk and acting crazy. She be in the privacy of her home. She drink a little Hennessy. Well, so what? She ain't going to church drunk. So the thing is, your mama is not gonna allow nothing in her house that is not to her standards and to her belief. Everybody sometimes, as Christians, we swave in what we would accept and what we won't accept. But your mama ain't gonna accept that. I'm here to tell you. You already know that. That's why you're coming to me. And then you think me, oh, you think I'm that kind of Christian woman that I can talk her into letting you do that in her house? That's how you see me? Because I keep it real? Then you don't know me. You are weak link. You don't think. You're not using wisdom. Girlfriend, I need to pray for you right now for some godly wisdom. Because you're not thinking clear. This man is using you. He's using you. Don't, if that's what you want to do with him, I can't stop you. If you going, you're gonna have to do what you do until life teach you. Because obviously you haven't learned anything from your mama. So you're gonna have to let life teach you. And I don't want to see that happen to you. But I'm here to tell you, and I hope you take this advice. I don't know what advice your girlfriend gave you, but it must be something similar to what I'm saying, because for him to curse you out after you told him what your girlfriend said, it got to be something similar to what I'm saying. She said, yeah, it is. I said, then listen to the both of us. Listen, take my words as confirmation. Take my words as confirmation that this man is using you. He's playing you because he see you a weakest link. Don't try to drag your mama into this mess. Don't do it. You want to be with him so bad, you want to continue to be weak for him, that's you. That's on you. Go get your own place and do it. Get your own apartment. Do it in your place. You want to be his wink link when you know he ain't going to marry you? I bet you that's his fiance that he's moving in with. I bet you that. Because you know what? She's a wise woman. She ain't going to take him moving into her house without him putting a ring on it. That's why I bet you that's his fiance. And that's why he said to you that he has changed and he's moving to another level of where he's want to buy a house and get married. Because, see, he put a ring on that woman's finger. That's why he's able to move in now. Because it's not to say that she wasn't laying with him and for however long they've been together, but that's their business. But in order for him to take it to the next level, he got to do something different. And that means put a ring on it now. I'll let you move in, but you got to do something different. So he put a ring on that finger. And now he got to save money because he spent his savings on that ring. He got to save money for the marriage and save money for the house. Because, see, she already broke it down to you. We're going to get a house. And I bet you she the type of woman that's saying it's not all on you. I'm your support. I'm here. I'm your rib. I'm here to help you. We're going to get a house together. I'm not expecting you to do everything on your own. But at the same time, you got to still step up to the plate as a man, like I know you are. Oh, she probably stroked his ego good. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's what a woman does for her man. That's the way she's supposed to help. That's what she's supposed to do. And just in the same way he's supposed to make her feel respected, protected, provided for, that he got her back. He's making her feel like a lady by treating her like a lady, by treating her with respect. You know what I'm saying? By not talking down to her, by not raising his hand at her, by not cursing her out, but treating her like a lady. And that's what he's doing for that one, unlike what he did for you when he cursed you out. So, baby girl, you are the weakest link. What you gonna do about it? After I told her that, let me tell you, she started crying. She jumped up. She started crying. She jumped up. She ran out the house. And then I started feeling bad. I started feeling bad because I didn't want to hurt her. But it's hard for me to bite my tongue and not tell people the truth when they come to me. Because I'm not going to tell you a lie. Even if my truth is not, what is good for you or fits you or whatever it is. But if you're coming to me for my truth, I'm going to give it to you as I know it. I'm going to speak it to you. Because, see, I believe the truth will set you free. I always grew up wanting to know the truth. I didn't like when people candy coat stuff to me. They want to keep me in darkness, keep me gullible and tell me the hard truth. Because, see, I'd rather for those words to pierce my spirit and hurt me now than for me to get hurt by some knucklehead like this man later on down the road that's going to mess up my psyche and my mental. Let those words that you saying to me bruise my spirit, my little heart right now. Because, see, that's not going to last long. But the damage that this man can do to somebody, can do to her, because she's all in and she's believing in him, that's going to be much worse than the words that I give to her. And that's the person I grew up. That's how I grew up. I was like, okay, tell me the truth. Okay, I'm gonna be bruised. My ego, my feelings gonna be hurt. I'm gonna be hurt, but I need to hear the truth. I want the truth. And because I grew up like that, then that's how I gotta give it to you. So that's what I gave to her. And I feel bad because I hurt her. But I know she's gonna get over that pain because it's not a deep pain, but it's going to give her food for thought. And it's going to give her, at least that's what I'm praying, that it give her food for thought and give her something to think about and give her a chance to see the real him, this man, and who he really is. So, am I wrong? Now I got to figure out how I'm going to get this kid over there to her mama. Ooh. So we can bribe them to take this over there to her. Because, see, they go over her house. She don't know how to stop talking. So they be hating to go, too. But, well, I thought about maybe I could have one of my kids drive me over there. And that mean I'm stuck talking, listening to her again. But, I don't know. So I need some help. But anyway, what do y'all think? Was I too harsh on her? I feel bad. So I just pray that everything work out. But anyway, I'm grateful that you guys tuned in. Click the thumbs up or subscribe button. I don't know what it looked like on your end, but whatever you got to do to subscribe to the channel to get more notifications of when one of these episodes are posted, do so. But be blessed. Peace, people. I'm out until next week. You guys have a good week. Y'all stay out of trouble. You hear me?